Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Beef Brunch news update for Tuesday, October 15th. It's already been a day. Y'all know we record these on Monday afternoons, and my brain's already done. So I'm going to quit talking, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Brittany.
Thanks, Ashley. So just real quick about some conditions that we're seeing over here. I honestly cannot tell you the last time it has rained. We're very dry out here. And we have a couple parishes. I know Acadia Parish for sure and Jeff Davis Parish, I believe, have both declared burn bans in those parishes. They did say on the news, I believe, either last night or this morning, that it did not affect, like prescribed agricultural burning, but just regular burning. Yeah. So those two parishes are under a burn ban. And we may see that expanded in some other areas until we see some rain. I was over at my office this morning in Opelousas, and we have the airport right behind our office. I did see that they were baling some hay over there. So we do still have some people that are trying to just finish up getting that hay baled. We also are in the midst of, planting ryegrass. I did see a few people have already planted their prepared seed bed, and then I know people were getting ready just to do, the sod seeding or overseeding, which I'm sure the conditions are going to be better. I know we have a cool front coming up. I'm going to ask Vince when he talks later if he planted yet. I know he was getting his ground ready for that last weekend. But we are seeing that come around. So hopefully with this, cool weather that we have coming, we may hopefully see some rain I don't know about the end of this week. I think next week we should hopefully maybe see some rain down here because we definitely are needing it. Last week, I attended the AI school that was happening at Dean Lee. I enjoyed getting to meet the producers that were there as well, and I learned a lot in the process. So just thank you, Ashley, for putting that on for us. And not tomorrow, Wednesday, I'll be heading up to the health farm where Lee is over there for that pregnancy determination clinic to participate in that. And we have, different things like this that happen throughout the year. We try to let y'all know when those are coming up as well. I know Ashley's good about putting that stuff in the comments here. Just to let y'all know, what we have going on. And I know they're in the midst of the heifer development program as well over at the Hill Farm. I believe that's about all I have, kind of a short update for me. But Vince, if you have anything you want to add to that for our area as well.
Hold on, Vince, before you jump on. Brittany, thank you for that and for those comments. And I was on the phone a while ago, traveling from the Hill Farm back to Union Parish, and had a call from somebody down in the southwest part of the state about the AI school. And so if y'all talk to people about it, tell them to go ahead and call us. He said, well, I was upset I missed it. And I said, well, I have over 30 people on the wait list and can only take 15 people at a time. So when we say there's a wait list, we mean it. I didn't even publicly advertise it last time. We talked about it on here, but that was it, just because the wait list is so long. So any of these classes, as we mentioned them, even if it's going to be a year from now, if you're interested in those programs, please let us know. Sorry. Thank you. Vince, your turn.
Thank you, Ashley, and thank you for everyone for having me with y'all again this week. Yeah, like Brittany mentioned, ryegrass planting time of the year is upon us, but the weather is not allowing for that. I mean, it's been dry. I think the last recorded rainfall we had was probably 3.5 weeks ago, and it's like it's dried out really, really severely since then. We've had a lot of north winds. We've had a few cool fronts pass. It's been 90, 91, 92 degrees a couple of days in that time frame. So with wind and 92 degrees, it doesn't take long to dry out some ground. So we're starting to see our summer grasses, our warm season grasses, deteriorate rapidly because of that. We have an abundance of mosquitoes right now. I don't know where they're coming from. I don't know if it's in y'all's area too, up in the northern part of the state. But cows are, right at sunset are bunching up, and it's calving season. And there's not a whole lot you can do about it. I mean, it's just an unfortunate thing. We're in the central south part of the state where there's a rice and crawfish production. So, I mean, that spells out some of the factor on why we might have mosquitoes. But if y'all experiencing that in the northern part of the state, it's just typically in the fall, we'll see that with hurricane situations. And the last two hurricanes we had may have contributed to that, just by the way the winds flowed. I'm thinking that Hurricane Helene that went up into Florida, we had some experience of north winds because of that. Might have supported some of that mosquito population. But if you got some plowed ground and some fall calving cows, you might want to let those cattle get onto that plowed ground for the evenings or at night so they can get some relief. That's a typical practice that we'll do in the fall when in preparing for ryegrass. And in my situation, I do have some of that scenario right now. So the cows are on the plowed ground where they can get a little relief from mosquitoes, because I mean the populations seem to be where there's more forages, standing. So with that being said, fall calving season is upon us. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Be prepared to assist if something's off and alone. It's probably either got a calf or has problems having a calf. So that needs some attention. Refamiliarize yourself with what your calving book needs to look like and what cows are calving, because it's that time of the year. And when we talk about calving season, we talk about bull sales. Bull sales are coming up. I know I'm a member in a couple of different associations, and I get a lot of flyers in the mail this time of the year, moving through the winter months, for bull sales coming up. And Lee will probably touch on some of the stocker sales that are going on here locally. I know they had a big one at Red River on Saturday, and 400 or 500 head they sold, at least 600 head or so. Likewise in Opelousas, they had a big sale on Saturday. So some of those things are going on. If you need some replacements, unfortunately they're not inexpensive. They're high right now, but generally you can find some replacements at some of these sales. Just waiting on. I had a conversation with a local cattleman this morning, just at the feed store, and he said, what's your intentions for ryegrass? So, well, it's that the calendar says it's time, but the weather has not said it's time yet. So we're waiting on weather, waiting for some rainfall. We're going to overseed some sod and also some prepared seed bed, as Brittany and her husband passed on Saturday last weekend. They said they blew the horn at me while I was disking the field, and I didn't hear them, but they saw me. So it's that time of the year, and it's time to get it planted whenever you can do so. Again, if you hadn't secured your seed, make sure you talk with your retailers, because they're not going to keep an overabundance of seed. Wildlife enthusiasts jump on that fall plantings of ryegrass, wheat, and oats. They may have dipped into your seed supply if you hadn't checked on seed availability. So make sure you got some of that booked or prepaid, where you have that ready to go if they're not offering prepay options. That's about all I have. It's just kind of a wait and see game, and stay on top of that calving issue, because they're way too expensive to lose them. If there's something you can do to help them have a healthy calf and get them along, because almost anything you put in the sale barn or to your marketing option is very valuable right now. So make sure that you take care of business at the farm level, and those calves move on to become productive, or calves that you're going to wean out here come April, May. And Lee, I think about you every time you talk about weaning those fall-born calves. And best time of the year to market calves is April, May, and June generally. And those are valuable pieces going into your bank account. So make sure that you take care of them. That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to turn it over. As you can see, Tripp and I are sharing an office. He was having some computer difficulties a while ago. So Tripp, I'm turning it over to you. I'll roll out of your way.
There's a good side and a bad side to having secure networks. And sometimes you wind up on the outside of your own network and have trouble getting logged back into stuff. And that's what happened to us today. Out of respect for everybody's time, I thought it'd be a little bit more efficient for me just to pop in here with Dr. Edwards for this. Thank you very much, Brittany and Vince, for y'all's updates. The Northeast region update, there's a lot of things in common, as there oftentimes is. And there's a lot of producers that are worrying about what they're going to do with their winter annuals this year. There's been a lot of discussions lately as to, do we roll the dice on our ryegrass, or do we just go ahead and make that investment in stored feeds? And there's a lot to be said on both sides of that. And depending on your situation and how much subsoil moisture you have, you might make a different decision. But across the Northeast region, we have gotten dry. We're almost a month or more out from any significant rainfall. You know, people have picked up a tenth here, a tenth there. But we're almost a month out of any significant rainfall. And looking at the 2-week forecast coming up, it's not great. There's a few days of 15, 20. There's a 30 out there like 14 days from now. Y'all know how quickly that can change or how much that can change. That can either turn into a significant rain event or that can totally disappear. And I wish we had a crystal ball to look into to help you with those decisions, but it's got a little bit of a wait and see game with that. One thing that makes me nervous about planting right now is if we do catch one of those rains and it's only a couple of tenths, there might be enough moisture there to get a seed up out of the ground, but not enough to sustain it moving forward. So that's a pretty hairy situation to be in. One thing we've talked about it several times on here before, now's a good time to go ahead and get your hay sampled, and that way you know what you have moving into the winter. If you do decide to go the supplementation route, if you know what the quality of your hay is, and the different stages of your cattle, you can match up a supplementation protocol to your cows to feed them in the most economic fashion, especially if you're not going to be relying on your winter grasses. Fall calving's in full swing, just like this was alluding to. That's fairly similar up this way. People are rocking with that. It's important to have you a vet-client relationship ahead of calving season. We discussed that a few weeks ago. If you don't have a vet that you work with, somebody that you can trust to help you whenever you find yourself in situations, I highly encourage producers to find somebody that they're comfortable with to work with moving forward. It is dry. I've mentioned that several times, kind of been the theme of today's episode. That's not all bad, though. Dry weather like this gives you some opportunities that you don't get the rest of the time. Now's a good time to go ahead and get some of those swags bush hogged and some stuff cleaned up moving into winter time. If you got some fencing work to be done in some low-lying areas, now might be your last chance for the year to get some equipment into some places. So take advantage of this dry weather and pray with us as we wait on some rainfall. With that being said, I'm going to pass the baton on to Lee.
Thank you, Tripp and Ashley and Vince and Brittany. I'm glad to be with you all here today. It's been a couple of news updates that I haven't been able to join y'all, and I'm kind of like a small town preacher. I've kind of built up quite a bit there, and the sermon might be just a little long today. Hope not. Echo what everybody's saying about the dry weather. It's powerful dry. Brittany said that she couldn't remember the last time it rained down in her neck of the woods. I can tell you the last time it rained here, and that was when Hurricane Francine hit. Got about an inch and a half places. I think that's about a month ago, almost a month ago that Francine hit and everything. Gosh, the devastation we continue to see there from the hurricane that struck Florida, well, two hurricanes, but also the ongoing damage to all those places north of Florida into Georgia and on northward, North Carolina. I think South Carolina got a pretty good walloping. Gosh, keep seeing horror stories about that. We just know that as bad as it seems, we're probably not seeing all the damage to the ag community there. They're probably going through quite a bit there. So continue to lift those people up in our prayers. As bad as it is to be waiting to plant ryegrass, there's a small percentage of people that are in even worse shape, and that's those that got the stuff early planted, and it's up a half an inch right now. Those are the people that are sweating bullets right now, folks. And I talked to a guy just the other day that had a couple hundred acres planted like that, and it's up, and so he's fully prepared to have to replant here in the next few weeks. Problem is, moving around and getting into these into the time where our window's closing just a little bit on that early grazing, and so we sure hope that we can turn around and get some rainfall and everything to try to right the ship a little bit. The good thing is there's plenty of hay, folks. If you don't have enough hay, then there's definitely a good supply to buy from. I deal with several hay producers that have been bemoaning the sorry state of the hay market right now. Hay market's pretty low because there's an abundance of supply. And so if you don't have any hay bought up already, then this year you can still find it, of course. A lot of good hay still being sold, and a lot of hay, like Tripp said, in my part of the country, that's still being baled. The markets have mostly strengthened, I would say. I'll give y'all the market report here in just a little bit. As Vince alluded to, there have been some special sales and some stocker cow sales along with some weaned yearling sales. And it looks pretty promising as far as that goes. Red River Livestock had one this past Saturday there at Armistead. And from what I heard, I wasn't able to attend, but from what I've heard, prices were good and the demand was pretty good, folks. I think their best bred heifers, their top 10 of bred heifers turned out 3,900 a piece. And so that's pretty good money right now on these bred cattle and everything. But on the other side of things, and maybe I'm wading into the market report a little bit sooner than what I anticipated. It seemed like there were a few deals on some pair cattle. I get asked from time to time what I think is deals, and I don't know why people ask me, but I'll tell them my opinion on things. And as far as that goes, I think that there may be a slight deal on some pairs. Now, are they going to look like your A number ones that Vince raises? Probably not. They're probably going to be more middle of the road. I see him making a comment. I'm sure he'll offer a rebuttal on that. But the what I'm saying is a deal may not look just like what your ideal herd looks like, or it may not fit in exactly what your type cattle you usually buy. But if some of what the market reports and some of the scuttlebutt that I'm hearing is there may be a few deals, definitely higher probability of getting a deal maybe on pair cattle than what some of these bred cattle are. My goodness, you're hearing some awful crazy reports on bred cattle. With that being said, I'll jump directly into the market report for this news update. And as a reminder, all these are self-reported numbers, so don't get hung up on one number specifically, but rather look at the trends in the markets and try to see which direction the market's headed as far as that goes. In Louisiana, we can swing quite a bit by just the number of cattle that are being sold per week. You can have a light run one week and it can really affect these market reports. Enough stammering, I'll jump into it. On the 500 to 600 pound steers, average of the prices is $2.06 per pound to $2.66 per pound. 5 to 6 weight heifers, $1.96 to $2.49 per pound. Cull cows, $1.02 to $1.27. Cull bulls, $1.24 to $1.56 per pound. Bred cows, the average of the high prices paid was $2,592.86, and the average of the high prices paid on pair cattle was $2,550. Now, as far as how that goes on the percent change from last report, we saw a 1.04% decrease on the 5 to 6 weight steers, a 2.29% increase in 5 to 6 weight heifers, and a 0.88% increase in cull cow prices, and a 0.35% decrease in cull bulls. Folks, I view that as a mostly positive market report for this time of year. And that leads me to one of my, I'm not going to say it's my final talking point. Remember, it's been a while since I've been on this news update. I gotta get it out of my system. Respiratory illnesses, folks. If you go out in the morning and you almost need a jacket, one of our folks at the Hill Farm takes care of cattle. He's switched over to a felt hat already. I'm not ready. I'm too fat for that commitment just yet, but it may be coming later on in the week. But whenever you go outside and you're in the 50s and the highs are in the 80s or 90s, it was 96 or 98 in Shreveport yesterday. When you start seeing those 40, 50 degree temperature swings, you better look out on these weaned calves, lightweight cattle, et cetera, and so forth, and even newborn calves. Vince knows how big a fan I am on this fall calving, and one of the, I'm not going to say downside, but something to watch is every once in a while you'll get some respiratory problem in some newborn calves on a fall calving system. It's not a huge problem, but it can be a slight issue you got to watch. The main culprits are these wean calves, especially these unvaccinated 3 to 4 weight, 5, even some lower 5 weight cattle. You put some stress on them, put some dust in their lungs, and these big temperature swings, and you better be ready with some antibiotic or whatever your veterinarian plans got that they have you on, as far as remediating that. But that can kind of tying all this back to the market, to the markets and everything. If we can hold mostly steady on these markets during what some call National Dead Calf Month, October National Dead Calf Month, I would say that's a win for us and everything. The other thing I want to make mention of, we talked about respiratory illnesses and stuff like that, and try to get a plan in place for that. Haven't heard a lot of murmuring about it, but I have seen some. I was on a producer's place last week, in fact, and we weren't looking for it, but we ran across some perilla mint. And if you know what that is, you know how big a problem that is. It's very toxic to cattle, and this is the time of year whenever we start seeing some problems. And we could talk for quite some time on that. I'm not going to. If you want more information on perilla mint, please reach out to us, and any one of us can give you that information. I haven't heard anything about any acorns yet. It's a little early in the fall to start seeing some significant problems on acorns, but we have them in our part of the world every year as far as that goes. Few events coming up. That'll be today when this news update hits. Brittany alluded to the pregnancy determination class. We really got a good group of people signed up on that, and anxious to meet them and have a visit with them. That's going to be on October the 15th. Also on Tuesday, October 15th, is the BSC day, bull soundness exam days there at Grand Cane. I know Ashley will probably talk about that in her events. Also of note, Vince was alluding to some bull sales and stuff, and there's a couple coming up in the Northwest region. On November the 4th, the Branch Ranch will be selling some Brangus and Ultra Black bulls. I talked to Mr. Tommy Rogers last week on it. Sounds like he's got a really good lot of bulls, Ultra Black and registered Brangus, that they're going to be offering. They really stand behind their product and are confident in it. And Mr. Tommy's excited for that sale. So that's November the 4th in Mansfield. Our friends there at Dixie Farms, Angus, are having their bull sale this weekend, October the 19th, at the Red River Livestock Auction Barn at Armistead. That's this Saturday, October the 19th. And if you're in the market for some Angus bulls, wow, that Mr. Bob and his crew do an excellent job putting together a set of bulls on that. Last event I'm going to talk about is we're having a cattle producers meeting at Red River Livestock on October the 24th. And that's open to anybody. You don't have to be a Red River Parish cattleman or anything like that to attend that. It's going to be a short meeting, going to cover some very timely topics as far as that goes. Final thing, and I'll wrap up, is the Pregnancy Determination Clinic. I want to echo what Ashley said about the AI class. A lot of times we don't do a ton of marketing for this, a ton of advertisement. And the reason is because we maintain waiting lists. Folks, I want to stress that if you're interested in one of these programs, please call one of us and get on a waiting list, folks. Get your name out there so that you can be notified to attend one of these things. We only have a certain finite amount of room and dates that we can do these things. And I know that a lot of times we let people down by not letting them in to it, but there's only so much we can do on that. Please call us and we'll try to get you in as quickly as we can on any of these events. And that's all I've got, Ashley.
All right, thank y'all. Made it easy for me. So just to wrap up, just a couple things for me to touch on. So again, today when this goes out on October 15th, Abigail Sarton will be doing a live webinar at 10:30. So if you're catching this early in the morning, and you can join us live at lsuagcenter.com/beef brunch. Abigail is going to be discussing supplementation for when your hay needs fall short. So Tripp mentioned having your hay tested. And if you joined us on the live webinar last week with me, we talked about how much hay your cattle need and how do you calculate that. So if you end up missing the live events, we are going to get those up online at a later date. We'll let y'all know when those get released. But if you can jump on at 10:30 this morning, October 15th, with Abigail, then please do so. lsuagcenter.com/beef brunch, and that's linked in our podcast description or video description. And then to follow up with that series, next Tuesday on the 22nd, Dr. Marcelo Vitavato is going to be discussing mineral nutrition for grazing cattle as well. So we'll have those 3 videos with that series. Again, if you miss the live events, we will have those recorded and up at a later date. Just going through my list, Lee's touched on the BSE day that Josh Salley has over in DeSoto Parish. But Brittany, I'm going to turn it over to you if you wanted to.
Okay. For some reason, I must be frozen. Am I
No,
frozen? Can you hear me?
It muted. I barely touched it. It like glazed over it, and halfway through my sentence, it muted me. So please discuss your BSE day coming up.
Yes. So next Thursday, October 24th, the Lafayette agent Lanie Reshort and I will be hosting a BSE day over at Dominique Stockyard. I believe last time we spoke about it on Friday, I think we had 10 producers. I probably froze. We have about 10 producers and 24 bulls, I think, as of Friday signed up. So that should be a full day ahead of us. But if anybody has not called yet, please give either Lanie or I a call. We're going to work on getting that schedule done this week. So we'll have everybody come through for that. But we're looking forward to it.
Thank you. And then again, the only other event, which Lee spoke about a while ago, is the meeting that we'll have at Red River Livestock on October 24th, excuse me. I have in my notes that they needed to RSVP by Monday the 14th, yesterday/today. But if you're listening to this on the 15th, give Josh a call today, right now. Make sure you're good for the head count for the meal for that. And I believe that's going to take us up into State Fair. And then after that, we really don't have a whole lot because we'll roll into the holidays. So as far as producer events, there won't just be a ton of things as we wrap up the new year, but we are starting to plan upcoming programs. So next year, we're looking at doing the Beginner Cattleman program. And so hopefully we'll start scheduling some dates for that soon. It won't start until March or April, but we're always looking forward into getting some of those dates and everything written down, and we'll get all that information to you as it comes around. So again, any of these programs that we have, if you hear of them or see them online, reach out to us and let us know, and we'll get you added to the interest list for those things. We'll always advertise them on here as we're able to. And with that, enjoy the cooler weather. Let's hope we get some rain, and we'll see y'all again in a couple of weeks.